right, we didn't plan it this way. We usually mix up the genres, but we have 3 hits from hell here. 3 horror books. We got Brood of the Witch Queen, Sax Rohmer, Blue Sunshine, Ken Johnson, and Nighthunter, Robert Faulcon. And go. First up, Brood of the Witch Queen, Sax Rohmer, originally published in 1918. This is the 1966 Pyramid Edition. Cover art by J. Lombardo. We also have the January 1951 Famous Fantastic Mysteries, Brood of the Witch Queen Digest. I believe we got this at the Gym City Comic Con for $5. So that was a little deal we found. So right up, this isn't official, but I'm imagining that over in the UK, the early 20th century, Arthur Henry Ward, about to be famous author, was sitting around his flat, in England going, man, my name sounds so boringly British. What would be an excellent pen name for my occult Eastern genre fiction? Sax Rohmer. Then he puts on his cool space smoking jacket, picks up his pipe, poses for this picture, and history is born. Sax Rohmer was an author from the early 20th century. When I first started reading this, I thought that he was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft. I guess I just assumed from all the 60s Fu Manchu that came out, in the 60s, that he was influenced by H.P. Lovecraft. But actually it was the other way around. In H.P. Lovecraft's essay on horror writers, supernatural horror in literature, H.P. Lovecraft states the Brood of the Witch Queen as being influential on him and an important piece of horror literature. So, is it important? Yes. If H.P. Lovecraft says it's important, it's important. So the basic premise of this story is there's a father and son, Robert Cairn and his father, Dr. Cairn, who basically go up and do battle against this supernatural demon occult, black magic occult guy. And it goes from England to Egypt, back to England. So as I was reading this, I noticed that the book was kind of broken up into 3 different parts with a distinct beginning and end, even though it's streamlined through the whole thing. It's the same story, but the parts are separate. And as I was looking into it after I read it, I saw that it was indeed serialized when it was first published. So that would explain why it's split up like that. So we're going to do it in the 3 different parts. The first part is the introduction to the characters, Robert Cairn and Dr. Cairn. It's really hard not to say it like a pirate. The Cairns. They are archaeologists. And definitely Dr. Cairn is. I think the son is in study on his way to become an archaeologist. The son goes to college. And so there's another guy that goes to college there, and he's a questionable young man who burns incense and does black magic, and his name is Anthony Ferrara. Robert Cairn, the son, is associated with this guy, and at first they're friends, acquaintances, I guess, and starts to learn that he thinks that Ferrara is doing black magic and is up to no good. He's killed a giant swan. He's killed the king of the swans with his black magic. And then a woman is found dead. A woman that Robert Cairn, has seen outside of Ferrara's apartment. So he connects them and decides that this Ferrara he's evil. He's burning incense. He's doing black magic, killing swans. No good. The dude is no good. On a side note, the woman who gets killed, they just kind of mention it, and it's just like a thing. They're just like, oh yeah, there's this woman. They don't know who she was just there, and then she's just dead, and then it's just dropped. So that part was kind of funny. So Robert Cairn goes and tells his dad, Dr. Cairn. His dad is friends with Ferrara's dad. They're both Egyptologists, archaeologists. And they just got back from excavating a pyramid over in Egypt. Now, Ferrara is adopted, so it's his adopted father. There's also a side love interest that, I don't know, I didn't really think it was important, so we're not even going to throw it in there. It does relate back because there's some like animosity between Ferrara and the Cairn son, but I found it to be pretty unimportant. So this whole beginning is loaded with information, characters, backstory, character, and foreshadowing. Did that make sense? I don't know. It's pretty clunky and hard to get through, and not to mention it was written a long time ago, so it's very dry. It's very of the time, kind of formal. You definitely got to be in the right mood for it. There is a lot of Ferrara practicing his black magic, and at times it's a little over-explained. We get it, like he's into black magic. It's just kind of overdone. There's some parts in the beginning, in the first section with Robert Cairn and Dr. Cairn, and they will just start calling him Cairn, and you have no idea which Cairn it is. You have to really be paying attention who's in the scene, and it gets kind of confusing. So part 2 is the death of Ferrara's adopted dad. So Dr. Cairn kind of takes the lead here. In the beginning, Robert Cairn was the main protagonist. In the second part, Dr. Cairn kind of takes over, and there is another backstory of the Witch Queen, where he tells the tale of this cursed family and the legend of the Witch Queen. So, it goes back in time. There's a wealthy British guy who marries who marries a Jewish vampire black magic witch queen. So, yeah, I don't know why they threw the Jewish part in there, but okay. Okay, sucks. Of the era, as they say, of the era. So this is all at the beginning of the second part. Then young Cairn goes to Egypt because Ferrara's gone there, and they are on the case. They're taking this dude down, and they're gonna kill him. They're gonna kill this guy because he's doing like black magic psychic attacks, and he's killing people. But who are they gonna tell? They can't tell the cops. They can't tell Scotland Yard. Well, that reminds me, there is some Baker Street thrown in here, which I thought was a little nod to Sherlock Holmes, which I thought was kind of interesting. So where was I? Oh yeah, so they can't tell the cops, so they're gonna take care of this dude themselves. They're just gonna murder this guy because they think he's a witch. So young Cairn goes to Egypt, and here is where the real enjoyment of the book comes, and this whole second part makes it worth reading everything. Not that the first part was bad, but it just wasn't fun, I guess. The second part is in the pyramid, and it is so claustrophobic and atmospheric. I mean, it's written so well, you can almost smell the old, you could smell you could feel the wind, the reverberations of the sound against the stone tiles in the pyramid. And it's amazing. It's spooky and occult in Egypt, ancient Egypt folklore, horror mixed with, the black magic and this family curse with this old vampire witch queen lady. It is on fire. It's good stuff. I'm such a great reviewer. I just have a way with words. It's good stuff. It's book good. This book good. Guys, this book is good. Anyway, Third part comes. It's kind of like they're wrapping it up. It's not as exciting. They're back in England. The love interest from the beginning comes back in. So now you got to save the damsel. And then there's like the showcase showdown with Ferrara. There's war terminology. Like there's legit like people studying in a library the history of Egypt and witch queens and occult and how to fight it. And once again, it's not as exciting, but it's still interesting if you're into this stuff. I read this book a month before reviewing it, and I don't remember the ending at all. And I've seen other reviews online where they say that the ending was terrible, it was a letdown, and I can't for the life of me remember how it ended. I remember not being disappointed, but I also wasn't excited. So it must have just had like a blasé ending that I was just like, well. All I really remembered was the middle pyramid part. Because the end was just like, I don't know, it was just tacked on. Honestly, if you cut off the first parts of this, at least the third, just get rid of the third part. It was the first and the middle. This book would be amazing. Like H.P. Lovecraft type of amazing. Maybe if H.P. Lovecraft's a 10, this would be a 9. I don't want to go that high. So yeah, I would go ahead and give this a thumbs up. It's of the era. It's written slower. The pacing is slower. Lots of terminology. So it is a little bit more difficult, but if you're in the right mood, it's a great read. And go. Up next is this 1978 novelization of the movie Blue Sunshine by Ken Johnson. Dale Books. I don't know Dale Books, but it's from Dale Books, 1978. So obviously, I'm a big fan of the movie Blue Sunshine. Wore my Blue Sunshine shirt for this review. That's right, dork. Blue Sunshine was a horror movie written and directed by Jeff Lieberman in 1977. Kind of a thriller, more of a thriller vibe to it than a straight horror movie. Because there's a mystery aspect to it. It's a B movie. It's not like a major production, which I love that there's a novelization of it, because that's just how wonderful books used to be, as they would do a novelization of like this, underground B movie. So I was looking into who Ken Johnson was, and it was not really a lot of information. There was only, for this book on Goodreads, this was the only book he authored. There's a Ken Johnson Christian writer, so I seriously doubt it's that guy. He writes like Jesus stories. And then there's Kenneth Johnson, who is a screenwriter and director also. And he created the show V, that 80s show with the aliens and stuff. If I had to guess, I would say that it's that Kenneth Johnson, just because it kind of fits. And he probably knew Jeff Lieberman, and I don't know. I'm just assuming that it's that Kenneth Johnson. So the plot of Blue Sunshine is has been a rash of people kind of going crazy, and they lose all their hair, and then they kill everyone they love. They kill their family, they kill whoever's around, and they're bald killers. They've lost their minds. There's a party of a group of friends, and everyone's having a good time, and then this guy shows up, one of their other friends. He comes in, he sings a song, and then he tries to kiss one of the other guy's girlfriends, and the other guy pushes him, and he's wearing a wig, and it falls off, and then he looks crazy, and he's like, runs outside. And all his friends are like, whoa, what was that? What was that, man? What was that all about? Where's his hair? Why is he wearing a wig? So they go chase him down, and then one guy, our leading man, Jerry Zipkin, he comes back to the cabin, wherever they were partying, and there is the bodies of the girls, the women. They are they've been burnt to a crisp, right? And he's like, what the hell? And then, he gets attacked by his friend, and his bald friend is hiding by the curtain, and he comes out and he attacks, and there's fights, and then they go running off, and as Jerry is fighting his friend, they're in the street, and his friend gets pushed in front of a truck. It gets splattered. The truck driver thinks that Jerry killed that guy. Cops are called. The cops think that Jerry has now killed his friend and the women back at the cabin. Jerry's on the run. Becomes noirish here, where he has to clear his name and solve why people are going nuts. The part, oh man, this is gonna be hard to do because I don't want to review the movie. I want to review the book. But there is one part I have to mention where the guy first loses his wig, and it's just him and the girls at the party, and he throws one of the women into the fireplace, and she's trying to get out, and he's just crazy, and he's got no hair and no eyebrows, and he's just shoving her back in, and it's something so disturbing about it. You're just I don't know, when you watch it, you're just whoa, what? Why is this? I don't know, it really disturbed me, but made me laugh too, because the guy looks so crazy. It's comical. This movie it's comical, it's funny, and it's not meant to be. There's no winking at the camera isn't this wacky? This is someone who was making a real movie, and it's wonderful. It's a wonderful movie. It's funny. Me and my wife quote it all the time. Yeah, it's just really good. There we go. There's my on-point reviewing again. Really good. Movie good. So on to the novelization here. I was very excited to find this. I was hoping there's going to be more to it. More backstory, more, I don't know, just more. And it was really a disappointment, as it basically just tells you what the movie is. It's just imagine if you were a blind person sitting on a couch and someone sat next to you and was explaining the movie to you, okay, and then they're getting some milk out of the fridge. Oh, this guy, yeah, he looks a little crazy. Okay, he's picking up a knife, and it's just kind of disappointing in that aspect. I wanted more, and there wasn't any more. So we're gonna give this one. I can't give Blue Sunshine a thumbs down. We're just gonna flatline it. It's a flatliner. They really missed the opportunity to add more to this wonderful movie. And honestly, without the actors being crazy, and it kind of loses the humor aspect too. So, yeah. Go watch the movie. It used to be on YouTube. If it still is, I'll put the link down in the description. If it's not, it's not there. Next up is Nighthunter by Robert Faulcon. This is the Charter edition from 1987, originally published in 1983. Robert Faulcon is the pseudonym for Robert Holdstock, which, considering he's writing these horrific occult type stories, the name Faulcon sounds mystical, whereas Holdstock sounds like he runs the local hardware store. So good choice, Robert Holdstock Faulcon. Thumbs up on your pseudonym. Sorry about the fan, but we're running out of time here. The Nighthunter was a 6-part series, starting in 1983 with this book, which is called The Stalking, even though it doesn't say it on the cover or in the book. I guess they decided to name the first one after the rest came out. I don't know. And then it ends 1988 with the book The Labyrinth, unrelated to the movie, I'm sure. So the basic premise of this is there's a paranormal scientist research guy. He's at home for Christmas vacation. A group of masked men in animal masks break into his home, take his wife and kids, leave him for dead, attack him, leave him for dead. He wakes up and needs to find out where his family is and what the hell happened, why he was chosen for this atrocity. So the hero of this is Dan Brady. He is in the UK, another UK setting here. He's a paranormal scientist. I guess I don't think he would call himself a paranormal scientist, but he's testing the fear factor in wild gerbils and whether it can be connected telekinetically through other gerbils. So basically he has one gerbil here, one gerbil there. He shows this gerbil a cat hologram. This gerbil thinks it's about to die, and he tests to see if there's any reaction in the other gerbil of the fear response. While he's doing this, he gets this weird fear response, like where he gets really creeped out, like something is ominous just passed into the room. He's like, whatever, it's Christmas break, my family's waiting for me. He goes home, they do up the tree, they drink an eggnog, everyone is super mega happy, which, you know, if you watch a lot of horror, you know something bad is about to happen, because the happier you are, the more likely that bad things are going to happen. The front door busts open. These guys in animal masks come in, rape the wife in front of the kids and the dad, unfortunately, and then grab the wife and kids out the door. They get kidnapped, and then an unseen elemental force comes up and chokes Dan Brady to death, basically to death. And then he has like an out-of-body experiences where he's like looking at his body. Next thing you know, he's in a coma, wakes up, strange goings on in the hospital surrounding him. The cops come and talk to him. They say that there has been 3 other cases of very similar things, where this group comes in, steals a family, kills the remaining family member, and they have no idea what's going on. Then he meets the one other survivor of this. It's a woman. Same thing happened to her. They kidnapped her husband and the kids. Now she is also a paranormal researcher, so they're kind of connected. And then from then on, the story is those two fighting the elemental forces, trying to discover what happened to their family and who is behind this debauchery. The first half of this is quick pacing, and the kills are brutal kills, guts, walls painted with blood. And you're probably like, man, who are they killing? Because there's only so few characters, and it's anyone in the book unlucky enough to be around these assholes while this thing is going on. You're just going to be annihilated. You just happen to be in the wrong place at the wrong time. And it was really disgusting. And it kind of made me wonder, since this was the 80s, and in the UK, they had the video nasties ban where they couldn't get gory horror movies. So I was thinking that maybe, like, Robert Faulcon was like, you can't stop me. And so he puts it in his book. And blood everywhere. Blood and guts and gore. Yeah, and violence. It's crazy. That's the first half of the book. So then the second half of the book is the female paranormal scientist survivor explaining to Dan Brady how to fight this. And here it goes into crazy detail on this, and we're talking like real world witchcraft lore, like Wiccan stuff. It was very impressive. I reviewed a adult western called Fox a little while ago, where I said that the guy just really goes into the detail of the terrain, the history, the terminology. He just really nails it. And it was really boring because I don't care. I just wanted gun shooting violence. And this book suffers the same fate, only this time I'm interested in it. I want to know. I love this witchcraft stuff. I love the occult, the paranormal. And I'm not an expert or anything, but everything in it was very impressive. It was really on point. It was like, if you are into that stuff more than casual, I think you would be very satisfied with how much of it is in there. That being said, if you're not into it, man, does it slow it down. It like just drags it down. There's a couple more exciting things that happen, but a lot of it is just the explanation. The explanation of, like, they're just giving you a lesson in witchcraft. Another kind of downside is that, and I don't really have a right to complain because it says it on the cover, but it's a series. I just wish it was just one book. I just want to know. I just want the answer. I don't want it to drag on and on. I'm not a series reader, unless it's like a Monster of the Week type series where it has a conclusion at the end of every book. And then it has the overarching story, which is fine. But I like the Monsters of the Week type stuff. So that was kind of a downside. If I seen one out, I would probably read the next one, but it's not something that I'm going to go hunting down, honestly. I just feel like they could have done it in one book. They could have been, how many pages is this thing? You know, it's 181 pages. It could have been one of these, 300-page books, and it would have been just fine. And it didn't need to be 6 parts. And if you think about it, 200, almost 200-page books, it's like that. And just the thought of reading that, I'm just like, man, I don't want to. There's so many other books. Why would I want to read one story that's that long? But that's my personal preference. Nighthunter was still good. We're going to give it a halfie. In between flatline. In between the middle and the top. So yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And